Hi, this video will show you some of the new features in the latest version 7.3 release of the SANBlaze Virtualun software. The 7.3 release will be the first release that supports 40 gig Ethernet support initially for iSCSI. FCOE support will be adding shortly after. Initially, 40 gig support will be available on Intel-based 40 gig NIC cards with Emulex-based support coming shortly after as well. One of the new features in the 7.3 code is the ability to configure smart data parameters on both the target side and then report them as well on the initiator side. On the target side, you can get to the new Smart Data tab by clicking on one of the LUNs under Target, and then you'll find the new Smart tab right over here. Here you can specify options like changing the manufacturing data, current drive temperature, and the amount of errors that have been detected over time. Then on the other side, on the initiator side, you can also see smart data from connected devices. Again, simply click on one of the LUNs under a target, find the new Smart tab, and then the data will get reported to you here and shown on this page. Another new initiator side feature is the ability to group LUNs into arrays. This way an entire array can be tested instead of individually clicking on different targets and LUNs. To enable this mode, go to the Initiator Quick Setup page and select Form Arrays from LUNs. You have the option to either group them together by serial number, so if all the LUNs have the same serial number detected, they'll be grouped together as an array, or by the same target name. In this case, I'll just say Enable by serial number and hit Apply. Once you do that, a new menu option will open up here on the left-hand side that will have the arrays listed. So you can see it right here, arrays. Once my target and initiator reconnect, we'll open this up and you'll see the arrays that have been discovered underneath here. So right now it thinks there's one array connected. If I click on the array, you can then see what are the array members. In this case, I have these 4 LUNs that are grouped together because they all have the same serial number. You can give the array a name here as well, array 1, and then use that for testing and reporting. Once you have the array, you can then treat it like you have a LUN or a target in the past. You can start various tests to this array all at once, or send task management commands to this array all at once. This simplifies the management in the GUI when you have multiple LUNs connected coming from various arrays. Another initiator side enhancement has been made to the test configuration and test runtime options. We now have some extended configuration options here that set limits on how much of the drive to test limit size, position of where to start doing testing within a device as well. There's also new disk test options for when you start a test. You have the ability to do the read, write, compare testing as we've done in the past, but now you can specify a percentage of reads and writes. So in this case, 10% reads, 90% writes, and so on. You can also configure the seq types to do more than just, in our old case, we had sequential and random. Now you can give it a percentage and say, in this case, do 10% sequential, 90% random at the start of a test. Finally, on the target side, the 7.3 release will be the first release to support VMware's vVol capability. If your license allows it, you will now see a new tab under the target LUN side that says VASA vVol configuration. If you click there, you can then configure the LUN as a vVol enabled container. You can give it a virtual size that it presents to VMware, then give it the actual size that you have allocated with memory behind it. This will create a thin provisioned vVol container up to VMware, and then you simply specify the maximum number of vVols you want to allow on this device. Once you do that, you can hit apply and connect this to your ESXi host, and then once the storage is discovered, you can go ahead and add the VASA provider to vCenter and use this for vVol type testing.